Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me the privilege of speaking with you all tonight. Those of you who know General Keane know that when he asks you to do something, there's really only one answer. So here I am. And I'm thrilled to be here, especially on Veterans Day, standing alongside a community that understands the value of service and the sacrifices that can come with it. Veterans Day reminds us of the commitment that we made to something greater than ourselves, and a commitment that for many of us does not end with service, but continues to shape our lives. I also want to acknowledge the families of our service members who may be with us this evening. Your support and sacrifices are often unseen, but are deeply felt and are vital to our strength. Today, as I reflect on our journey and the journeys of my fellow classmates, I feel a deep sense of honor and gratitude to be able to represent them here in front of you. This day is not only a time to recognize the contributions of those who have served, but an opportunity to translate the values of service, resilience, and leadership into the civilian world, really the essence of Emory's new Masters in Business for Veterans program. I'm proud to have some of my classmates here with me tonight from Cohort 1 of Emory's MBV program. We're officially over halfway through and only a few months from graduation. That's a pretty big deal. The men and women that I attend class with are some of the most selfless, driven, and impactful leaders that I've known throughout my life, both in the military and now as a civilian. Cohort 1 is filled with diversity and success. We have business owners, active duty officers, mothers, fathers, and a wide range of experience across all branches, the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, and of course, the Air Force. This program embodies what Emory stands for: cultivating leaders for the future. Before diving into what this program means to me, I want to share a bit about my journey and how each stage of my life has shaped my growth as a leader. My name is Victoria Johnson, or Vicky J to my classmates. I'm 29, an Air Force veteran, and of course a student here at Emory. I grew up in Georgia and was raised by my incredible parents. My mom, a Colombian immigrant and director of a medical nonprofit clinic for underserved communities, and my dad, a dedicated teacher of over 25 years, who recently returned from teaching internationally in West Africa. From an early age, I've been surrounded by examples of service and commitment. My family's values planted the seeds for who I would become, although my path to get here was not straightforward. After high school at Woodward Academy, not far from here, I made the decision to take a gap year and worked at a boarding school in England as an assistant school nurse and a sports coach. That experience fueled my curiosity about the world, sparked my independence, and gave me my first exposure at handling heavier responsibilities. Around that time, I worked as a personal trainer, and it was a client, a retired Air Force veteran, who suggested I consider the military. Without too much deliberation, I told my family that I'd be enlisting and soon found myself at Lackland, beginning my Air Force career, which would also be my first major step towards my growth as a leader. I was placed in transportation management and learned that I'd be moving to Misawa, Japan for my first duty station. Having lived abroad before and no stranger to traveling, I was excited for this new chapter in my life. But the culture shock I experienced when I landed in the snowiest DoD installation in the world was unlike anything I'd experienced. Most service members can understand the uncertainty and disorientation of finding yourself fully integrated into a new environment with the expectation to hit the ground running. It was this experience where I began to develop skills like adaptability, flexibility, and resilience. Working in inbound logistics and in foreign country at a young age, I had to learn how to integrate quickly into new environments where resources were sometimes scarce and each day brought new challenges. With the onset of COVID-19, I found myself away from my family, supporting global supply chains and forward deployed units while working towards my bachelor's degree. While I may not have known it at the time, those 2 years in Japan taught me how to step up to challenges, how to quickly orient and adapt to change, and how to draw teams together for support when times get tough, shaping the foundation of my leadership style. From there, I transferred to McChord Air Force Base in Washington, where I managed heavy haul cargo operations for high-value assets. With this assignment came promotion and increased responsibility as I began to lead teams and take on new airmen. Some of these experiences were trying, but growing. I started having to think about how to motivate those around me, how to find better processes with limited resources, and how to stay true to myself and my values while still making my voice heard. While stationed at McCord, I had the incredible opportunity to aid in humanitarian logistics missions, an experience that I look back on now as a major driving factor for my future career aspirations. My role at McCord required me to make critical decisions under pressure and further develop the skills that I need as a leader. My active duty service revealed new strengths and prepared me for the next stage of my growth, although I wouldn't understand the full impact it would have until much later. In 2022, I transitioned into the reserves, where I now serve as an education and training manager out of Dobbins Air Reserve Base up in Marietta. Continuing my service as a citizen airman was essential for me in navigating my transition. By the end of my 4 years, I had completed my bachelor's degree, and I was excited to see how I could translate my skills into the civilian world, but I knew that I still wanted to contribute to the mission in some way. Putting on my uniform once a month to work towards something bigger than myself has kept me grounded and helps me stay true to my values. When I'm not on base, I work for Johnson & Johnson in their medtech sector, managing last-mile logistics for trauma surgeries across the Southeast. This job has allowed me to continue my passion discovered in the military for life-saving logistics and has helped me anchor myself to a new mission in an area that I hope to have a future impact. Although my military experience has been invaluable for this job, adjusting to the corporate environment was not easy and presented a new set of challenges. Like many veterans, I faced the now what moment after leaving service, feeling a loss of purpose and identity. I found myself craving that same sense of purpose and drive that I felt in the Air Force, and so I began looking into different MBA programs to continue my growth. And then last year, General Keane and Lorenzo Suarez came by Dobbins to talk about Emory's new Masters in Business for Veterans program. Since I happened to work in the education office on base, these pamphlets for the Lunch and Learn were hand-delivered to my desk, and I took that as kind of a sign at the time. Hearing about this program, built for veterans, and meeting people who understand my background made me realize that this is what I'd been looking for. I applied, I was accepted, and I joined my cohort back in May. This was a new phase in my growth as a leader, and one that would push me well beyond my comfort zone. Since joining this program, it's been a journey of growth and self-discovery. As someone who did my undergraduate studies online, I was a little intimidated by an academic environment like Emory's, to be honest. I had always been someone who didn't feel that academics were my strong suit. In fact, it was my parents who had encouraged me over the years that I was more than capable to pursue further education. Thank you for that. It's funny to think back on that mindset now, because with each class, my confidence has grown. It was our finance professor in one of our very first sessions who told us that it's our instructors often see our potential long before we see it in ourselves. And that's been a bit of a guiding light for me, and one that's helped me through many hard days and uncertainty. Through this program, I've come to recognize the strengths that I've gained from my time in service that I didn't fully appreciate before. Values-driven decision-making, people-focused leadership, discipline, and adaptability. Emory is showing me how to harness these skills, grounding me in my capabilities, and giving me a renewed sense of purpose. A question I've been asked a lot since starting this program is, what is it like to be a woman in leadership, or more specifically, a female veteran in leadership? For me, growing into my career as a woman, especially in a predominantly male environment like the Air Force, has been an ever-present part of my journey, and one that has taught me courage and ultimately made me a better person. I've learned to work with a diverse range of colleagues, meeting bias with professionalism and objectivity. I have worked in environments where people may be initially unfamiliar with or unaccustomed to female leadership, and I've had to learn how to earn respect and support of a team through results and consistency. When I worked in cargo operations, I began to notice that oftentimes people would make the assumption that I couldn't do something until I proved that I could, whereas my male colleagues were given the assumption that they could do something, maybe until they proved that they couldn't. It's subtle nuances like this that women face and oftentimes don't know how to manage. I started learning that by showing my capabilities with consistency and always looking out for my team has helped me bridge the gap that we sometimes face as women. Navigating these dynamics has helped me identify that leadership by example is a key part of who I am, both personally and professionally. Emory and the MBV program have further supported this growth, helping me refine my skills and encouraging me to become the leader I needed when I was starting. It's a journey of growth that I'm still on, and I'm sure many women can relate to. I've been fortunate to have many examples of strong female leadership throughout my life, from my current commander at Dobbins Air Base to my amazing mom, and I can only hope to one day be an example to other women in their lives and their careers. As I've continued to grow in my leadership journey, I have learned that success in any role, military, corporate, or otherwise, requires adaptability and a willingness to embrace change. Leadership isn't just about guiding teams through known paths. It's about navigating uncharted territory and finding solutions where none were before. This is where adaptability and innovation become essential. The Air Force has taught me to assess situations with limited information, work within constrained resources, and solve complex problems under pressure. These skills have become invaluable in my current role in trauma, where every day presents a new challenge. Oftentimes, I find myself in a position with my team trying to find a way to ensure 20 surgeries can get done for the patients that need them, with half the equipment available, managing a handful of drivers across hundreds of miles, and we've got a couple hours to make it happen. It's exciting work, perhaps stressful at times, and it's work that I know I'm able to do because of a combination of my military experience and this program. The MBV program is preparing us for a world changing at an unprecedented rate. Qualities like adaptability and innovation aren't optional, but essential. These experiences have taught me to face challenges with resolve and with a mindset that embraces change while staying true to core values. After I transitioned out of active duty, I found that the Air Force core values, integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do, have continued to guide me, maybe more so than I would have actively considered. Staying true to personal values and aligning my career with them has been crucial in my growth, especially as I progress in my career. Over time, I found myself bringing these values into my corporate role, and I've found that when I can wholeheartedly stand behind my role and its purpose, I'm able to lead with confidence and clarity. This is something that veterans offer to the companies with which we work. We understand how to ground ourselves in values and orient our decisions around them, which sets a tone for meaningful, people-centered leadership. As each of us prepares for the future, we're stepping into a world marked by rapid change and uncertainty, political, economic, technological, and social. We have generative AI, evolving work norms post-COVID, and changing social expectations that all bring unique challenges. But I believe that leadership, true values-driven leadership, is timeless. Growing into leadership has taught me that it's about setting a standard of integrity, courage, and compassion. True leadership means stepping up with confidence, especially in uncertain times, and showing those around you what's possible by example. It's about recognizing and nurturing the potential in others, even when they don't see it in themselves, because someone once did that for me. Tonight, as I stand here, I'm just one of many stories in this program. My classmates are filled with stories of resilience, determination, growth, and selfless service. Our paths may differ, but we all share an understanding of how to work towards a common goal, care for our people, and make decisions that reflect our values. As leaders, we have a responsibility to invest in the potential of those around us. My path is marked with people who saw something in me that I hadn't yet seen for myself. My client, who encouraged me to join the Air Force, General Keene, encouraging me to come up here and speak with you all tonight, and my parents encouraging me to go to college, and a whole lot more. Each of these people and many others have left a mark on my journey because they made a choice to nurture something that they saw in me. For those of you who are newer in your careers, I encourage you to find leaders you admire and trust and lean into the discomfort when they push you out of your comfort zone. And for those of you who are those leaders, I encourage you to remember the guidance that you once needed. Leadership means recognizing potential, often in unexpected places, and helping to draw it out. This, to me, is the essence of the future of leadership. Cultivating the next generation so that they too can face an uncertain world with courage and conviction and carry a legacy forward. Thank you. Happy Veterans Day.